Okay, hello everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's so exciting to be here tonight. This is something new in Angel Aura that I hope to continue to do monthly. But this month, we're actually calling. We used to be the Angel Aura Show, but now we are going to be spiritual talk amongst the mediums, which I'm so happy for. And everyone is here. And this evening we have Alan Pratt, our spiritual healer and psychic medium, who is going to be at Angel Aura Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and possibly Monday, if you roll into that day. So, welcome, Alan.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Alan.
Hey,
Hi, Alan.
everybody. Hey,
Hi.
Martha,
And Martha,
Tina,
Tina.
Damaris, Lisa. Awesome to see all of you.
I should have introduced everyone. Sorry, guys. This,
That's
you
okay.
get so excited to get into having this conversation that I'm so used to the girls being around me all the time that we're always together. So I'm always like, well, this is the tribe. Here we are,
It's a beautiful tribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and I love them all. And so they're holding down the fort while I'm not there. So
Because
Alan,
you're in,
what did you say? I'm sorry.
you're where?
They are in New York. I'm here in Florida, holding the fort down at Angel Aura.
You're in Florida, and I'm in Lake George.
You are.
I
Ooh,
am.
nice. Good for
And
you.
I go from Lake George to Pauling.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you and I will be able to get together sometime in crossing paths on our way to our next travel.
Hey, you invited me to visit you on my way back to West Palm Beach.
I absolutely did.
I very well may.
When do you go back down?
End of the month, last week.
Okay. I'm going to Georgia in the Blue Ridge Mountains for 10 days.
Beautiful.
So
we can talk about our social schedules later.
Yeah, yeah. let's talk about Alan and his events that are coming up. So, Alan, tell us a little bit about what we can expect during your healing ceremony on Friday.
Activation of higher abilities, clearing of blocks, entities, energies, history, karma, whatever. Transmutation is perhaps is also a good word. So clearing and transmutation in the space of activation, because this is the word that Spirit's been saying to me frequently recently around, quote, healing events, because the two are so linked together. And the community that I've worked with at Angel Aura Boutique in Pauling is a very powerful group of light workers. And I knew that the first night I walked in. If you recall, 2 years ago, the first time I walked in, as literally as I was parking, Spirit said, just about every person in this room, and there were about 30 people there that evening, every person is a medium, psychic, light worker, spiritual teacher. But the word that I got the most was psychics and mediums. And for the size of the town and the shop, the staff of mediums and psychics is larger than like anywhere else I visit on the East Coast, and I work in big cities. So you're pulling the professionals and the people who are working on their abilities. You're bringing them together in community. And so I feel that again 2 years later, that the primary word is activation of higher abilities. And Spirit's telling me right now to say a bit about that, because the first thing I'm seeing is art. Whereas usually what I want to say is that I'm activating people's abilities to be healers, to be psychics and mediums. And then I start going down the list from there. And I include either business, community leaders, whatever it is you're up to, activating your abilities in all domains. But
I
what I'm
love it.
getting first is the Spirit is saying, say art. You're activating people's artistic abilities, because that really goes across the board and can be applied in all areas of life.
Sorry about that.
Somebody agrees with
See?
me.
You brought the energy in, and the
Notice
dog
the
is
timing
barking
of that
now.
comment.
She loved
That's
it. She loved
that's
it.
the mascot.
That is Sadie. Yep. Hi, Peggy. Peggy's just logged in to say hello. Let me tell you, Alan. When it's been 2 years that I've known you now, 2 years since you've been at the shop, and people are still talking about the last events that we had. They're still going through changes, activations. They've talked to me about how it has changed their life, has helped them to heal, has helped them to connect to their spiritual gifts that they were aware of, but didn't know where they were going with it. So they've been guided to grow spiritually, which is fantastic. Even amongst us, many of the group, our tribe, has had healings with you, and addictions were no longer there.
Oh, good.
You know, lots of different things, that the ailments and stuff that they've had. I don't want to pull out everybody's stuff. has had a positive effect on them. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
That it's
I
been
did a
positive
reading.
effect.
I did a reading last week for a woman, and I was giving her some information on angels. And she said, "Oh, Alan taught me that already. I already know that." And I said, "Alan who?" She said, "Alan Pratt." I said, "Oh, you were here?" Because I don't remember anybody. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Thank you for that acknowledgement. Thank you very much. And yes, the work that I do is, I want to say, works for what the clients and the community need.
Mhm.
I'm a pretty pure channel. I want to say I'm a pure vessel. I'm pretty pure. Because we can always work on it, but I am very disciplined, and I do walk the walk. And when I say that, I mean that I follow the path as guided by Spirit, and that includes that I tour. I have been nomadic for about 11 years. I'm almost 62, and I started being nomadic just before my 50th birthday. And I've had places to live, and I've had leases and all of that. But basically, I've got what's in my car, and I follow the path, and I keep moving around, and I tour between Miami and New York frequently. And so simply connecting with so many tribes of light workers, that activates my abilities. So I get activated by all the communities that I work with, and that's all you guys.
It's great. It's great. I'm so excited for everyone to have you back at the shop. They've all been waiting. People have already signing up. So let me put it out there. Give us a call at the shop, 845-493-0432, or stop by, sign up for Alan's workshop. There's plenty of room. Friday evening when you come, Alan does a healing session also, so make sure to bring your yoga mat or blanket or pillow if you so wish to lie down to receive his healing. Also, I will have chairs available at the shop for you. I was going to say something about the healing ceremony. People are still talking about that. I have news for you.
That's awesome. One thing that I want to clarify, I think in the text on the event page, we used the text from 2 years ago. And I think when I originally came, it said that I would talk with the group for maybe 15 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that at the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then go into the healing, which maybe lasts about an hour. And by the way, it's me by myself. I often work with musicians, sound healing musicians, in most of the places that I tour. But I must tell you, 2 years ago, I was hardly doing any gigs. I love using that word. I was hardly doing any gigs by myself. And Spirit said, "We don't want you to bring a musician
Right.
to Pauling, New York." And I was like, "Really?" I almost felt naked. I thought, I usually have somebody playing bowls and a gong and flutes and singing and stuff. And they said, nope, no, just you. Just you. And I thought, okay. And I came, and it was really powerful. And I loved it. I thought, wow, I love it that what's coming through me with you is powerful enough on its own that I didn't quote need. I love the artistic and aesthetic, and all the sound healers that I work with, they're also healers before they ever pick up an instrument. So there's a power in that. But I do find it interesting that Spirit guided me to come to Angel Aura Boutique and to have it be just my voice and my body. Hang on a second, because I'm going to cough. Something's coming up right now.
That's fine.
And so as I talk about this, the stuff's coming up. And Martha and I were actually doing a little bit of work right as we went on air, and we weren't really intending to. We literally said a couple of sentences to each other, and brrr, it just started like flowing.
So thank you for coughing that up.
Even in a conversation, being in the presence of powerful light workers can cause a release, even if we're not in a formal ceremony, in a ritual procession. Anyway, so when I say it went great, it's that by my assessment, I mean, you said that people have had results they reported afterwards, whether it was addictions or connecting with their guides or an illness that was healed. I'm going to cough again. Hang on. And I don't have a cough, and I have not coughed at all today.
Well, clear that all out for us, Alan. Go ahead. Clean it up. We love it. We love it.
So what I'm trying to say is that what's happening to me right now is the effect I have on everybody at your place when I come and do it to a higher level than many places that I go. It's like I'm guaranteed I can walk in there and like raise a hand or something comes through my voice and it has an effect. And I gauge that by what I witnessed in the room, in that people's breathing, their bodies moving, having a vocal reaction, and what they say afterwards that evening.
Right.
It's a very high level at Angel Aura Boutique. I got to tell you, even now, something's like trying to shut down my speaking.
Well,
and I'm so used to this.
Get it out.
So when you ask what can people expect,
right,
is to feel and to release and to receive and to feel frequency. Maybe if you haven't been to healings like this, maybe to feel more or different than what you've felt before, a new kind of feeling. The more I do this, I'm stunned that 11 years into doing this professionally, on top of a couple of decades of working towards that, that what I feel keeps increasing. It keeps getting more divine, more amazing. It's just intense and good.
It's fantastic. I'll tell you what, when obviously I sat through when the first time that we did the healing session, the first time that you were there, and you're channeling also. If we've all been there, so we know that Alan is channeling. But when you channeled the archangels. When you channeled the archangel, I actually felt them come right into the room, and you feel that energy of whomever it is that you're channeling. And everyone in the room, I'm sure, felt it, because as you said, everyone is so connected. Mother Mary, and many people have spoken to me about how you channeled Mother Mary. And someone actually seen you at another event and you had channeled Mother Mary for this person. And it's like it just opened up the whole world for her. And I'll tell you, it's amazing. And so I highly recommend everyone that's hearing, everyone that's out there, don't miss this. This is definitely an opportunity of a lifetime.
Well, one of the things that I found with the first experience, I found that it was so mind-blowing. It was nothing that I expected, and I had no idea what to expect. And I found it tricky at first,
Mhm.
trying to fit in with the sounds and the movements that people were making.
He's looking up at her.
He's talking to Mary.
I see that.
So I think, if anyone comes in for the first time, I think they just have to be open to a crazy experience. And the more you can let go and let it flow, the better the experience is going to be. Because you took
Exactly.
me on some wild rides, some very wild rides those times. And I loved every second of it.
Thank
So
you, Martha.
the more open and have no expectations and expect everything, the better it's going to be.
To clarify, the sounds, it's a full range. What comes through my voice is everything from whistling and operatic sounds to rocky throat singing, light languages, which I really want to say extraterrestrial languages, or ancient languages that are perhaps pre-Earth or pre the recorded civilization.
Right. And the people who are involved in the ceremony receiving the healing, they start singing, they start speaking in tongues.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yes, they do.
Yes.
And I was just about to say, sometimes people do identify for me some of the languages that I'm speaking and singing in. And I think you will appreciate this, Diane. About 10 years ago, when the languages first started coming through me, I was working somewhere in Connecticut, and the community of people, a number of them said, "Oh, we speak that language too." They said, "Do you know what it is?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And they said, "It's Lemurian. We all know each other from Lemuria." And I was like, "Wow." And then the same thing happened in Oregon. And I was like, okay, they're doing it on two different coasts with two totally different communities, one right after the other. And they work with me in patterns like this so that I'll get the point. And so I don't know that I have many others, where I've been able to identify, but that thing about Lemurian dialects, Spirit said there's about 4 to 10 different Lemurian dialects that I and other people have spoken in the events that I do around the country. So
wow.
It's amazing. One of the women that was at your session who spoke in another language comes to the shop every now and then. She was coming for some other spirit events that we had, and she allowed us to share her gift and giving girls, right, has giving us messages during that circle, which was it is amazing. So I'm sure she's going to be there on Friday.
Now, do you want to?
I don't want to say her name live because it's her privacy. So
gotcha.
Everyone here on this screen knows who I'm talking about.
So what
you
else?
girls down there in the corner, quiet.
Walk.
Tired. We've been decorating all day.
So I need to know, Alan, what areas are you hitting up mostly in the country? Are there certain areas you're not going into?
Oh, I'm so glad you just asked that, Martha, because when I started touring in 2009, my home base is West Palm Beach, Florida. That's where I went to high school. I went to college in Tallahassee. I was an apprentice at the Burt Reynolds Theater in 1982 in Jupiter, Florida. And so and my mom is still there in West Palm Beach. So that's my home base. But in 2009, Spirit said, hit the road, move to California, meet the other healers, find out what this is all about. And I thought, okay, it's the West Coast. And I spent 5 years living in Northern California. And again, all very nomadic, never had a permanent home. A lease of up to a year, maybe at a time, but 5 years mostly doing the festivals, going to sacred sites like Mount Shasta, Harbin Hot Springs, Joshua Tree, really Burning Man, just following the path. And then after 5 years on the West Coast, Spirit said, go back to Florida. And my impression from being a young person that grew up in Florida, especially anywhere between West Palm Beach and Miami, is that it's all about bling and materialism. And I wasn't aware that the spiritual tribes are everywhere, and they're powerful everywhere if you find them. And Spirit commanded me to go back to the East Coast, and I started in Miami. And it's interesting. I really didn't want to go back, and Spirit said, your business is in Florida. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went back to Florida, and I swear, Spirit said, we are going to get you on the news in Miami. And I thought, oh, please. Spirit says all sorts of stuff that don't come true, and indeed it happened within 6 months. I was on the news for having success with cancer. And I said, that's it. I'm going to become Alan, the South Beach healer. I want to be Miami,
Okay.
That's it. I got a studio in South Beach in Miami Beach, and I'm gay. And I wanted, I thought South Beach, Miami Beach, and I tell you what, Spirit did not let me do that. Even though I'd been on the news and had a ton of clients, it all kind of petered out bit by bit. And I thought, what's happening? What are you doing? And they said, oh, I guess you better drive north and find some work. And I thought, what? And I lived in New York City for 24 years till 2006. And so I thought, well, New York was my home. I still fly into New York to do healing events. So I then started touring from Miami to New York, back and forth. And that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years, 5 or 6 years now. And I'll spend 3 months, 6 months. Now, because of COVID, I haven't been touring since I last saw you. That's why it's been 2 years. I spent 1.5 years in Florida hanging out. And then I said, enough of it. I got to hit the road again. And so I'm back up in New York, and you said you would invite me to talk about my upcoming events, and
Yep.
I will use this opportunity right now.
Absolutely.
So our last event in New York sold out 200 plus seats.
Wow.
Our ensemble was between 30 and 40 healers, musicians, and singers. That was January of 2020. We immediately scheduled our next event for April of 2020. Well, that's been bumped over and over because of COVID. And we rescheduled it for October 2nd, which is now 11 days ago. And then just as we were preparing to do the event, we thought, let's go for like 300 people this time, maybe 300 to 400. And the church said, because of the city's guidelines for indoor concerts, you can have a max of 300 people in the church. And this church, it's at St. Paul and St. Andrew on the Upper West Side on 86th and West End Avenue. This church seats like up to 900 people. It's a good sized church, like 500 people on the main floor, 400 in the balcony. But they said you have to do pod seating and social distancing so you can have 300 people. And we said, okay, we'll do it. And then about 3 weeks before maybe a month before October 2nd, they informed us the city guidelines changed. You can seat all the people you want. And we were like, what?
Wow.
And so, yes. And so we have this beautiful marketing plan that's not just business, it's community building. And I want to tell you about it because it includes you guys. It includes all the tribes in the burbs, in the Hudson Valley, in New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island. So we have this plan to invite all different kinds of groups of shamans, dancers, healers, yogis, psychonauts, meaning people that work with plant medicine like ayahuasca. I forget what the total list is, but you can see it on the poster for the event. And the event is called Great Spirit. And it's a gathering of the tribes. And we're reaching out to all of the larger community organizations outside of the city, like COSM. How many of you know COSM in Wappingers
It's right up
Falls?
here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know
Mhm.
COSM, of course.
Mhm.
Martha, you live pretty close. So COSM, we're all these different groups like the Golden Drum and all these Ecstatic Dance New York. We have a database of nearly 200 yoga studios in
Wow.
New York City. Yes, we're working this.
Wow.
And what we're doing is offering a co-promotion deal, meaning a commission on every ticket sold.
Hmm.
And what that does is that encourages tribal leaders and organizations to bring their community and to receive money for themselves and their community
Wow.
off the ticket price.
Very cool.
And it's $15
When is
a
this?
ticket. This is January 15th. This is when we bumped it to. So it's January 15th. It's called Great Spirit. It's all over my Facebook page, my Facebook groups. You can find it on Eventbrite. And this is the genius of Eventbrite. And maybe other ticketing structures do this, but Eventbrite gives you a structure where you can have a ticket code for yourself or
Yeah.
your community, and everybody uses that ticket code, and the customer gets $10 off their ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And each promoter gets $15 off the ticket. So 25 goes to other people before we see any of it. And this is the way we think it is very powerful to build community. This worked for us for the last event. This is how we had 200 people with a waiting list.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Is by inviting the ensemble to bring their communities. And then this whole outreach program, because guess what? We might stick with St. Paul and St. Andrew because it's just gorgeous. It's a radically inclusive church, which
It
I
is.
love. It is a radically inclusive church, very contemporary, very hip music. Krishna Das performs there. If you're into kirtan music, the
Mm-hmm.
country's most popular kirtan artist has performed at St. Paul and St. Andrew. And so we might stay there. However, we're thinking our next stop is the Cathedral of St. John the Divine
Nice.
I
on
love
the
that
Upper
church.
West Side.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It is the
Beautiful.
largest, it is one of the largest cathedrals in North America. It is certainly the largest cathedral or church. Wait a second. Riverside Church may be bigger. I think Riverside seats 3,000.
Wow.
St. John the Divine, though, is a cathedral with an open floor that you can play with. And you can seat easily 2,000 people. And so that's when it becomes an all-day event. And St. John the Divine has a history of many decades of the Paul Winter, if you know that name, Paul Winter, and his summer solstice concert. When I was a young man, I remember buying cassette tapes back in the 80s when I was first becoming spiritual in New York City. And you know, I was
Tape.
thinking,
Nobody knows what that is
wow,
anymore, Alan.
cassette tape. You know, of the winter solstice concerts at St. John the Divine. It was spiritual meditation music. And now, 35 years later, we're getting ready. And, you know, and this is all, you know, a few years ago when I formed the New York Healing Arts Alliance, it's just we're coming up on our 3rd anniversary. I was talking about this then. I said, where we're going is cathedrals, because this is what we have been given messages. I've been given messages. Other light workers I know have been given this message. You guys have to work with large groups of people. You have to move into the cathedrals and then into stadiums for tens of thousands. And not just me. I have met many light workers who will come up after events and say, Alan, I've been told the same thing. That I'm to stand in a stadium of people and do healing work. And I said, well, you're not alone. We're in this together.
I've been meeting those people. For sure.
So, Martha, the reason I was so glad that you asked about how where I work around the country is because there's a reason I'm in Lake George right now. And I've been following the guidance of spirit. And sometimes you think you're going for one reason, or you don't even know. Sometimes spirit won't even tell you. I'll tell you, I thought I was here for looking for my twin flame. Because we're kind of dancing around. I won't go into that drama, but it's very cinematic. It's very bromantic. My twin flame and I haven't seen each other in a long time, and Spirit was saying, "Go further upstate New York. You'll find your twin flame." And so first I went to Saratoga Springs, and you see, I've never really done upstate New York. You folks know. You folks probably know all about the beauty of upstate New York.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm sure
absolutely.
you do. Me, I'm still mostly a Florida boy. And so as north as I've taken my touring has been Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh,
And yet,
Okay.
as we're expanding the Healing Arts Alliance, we're expanding to Montreal and Toronto.
beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
This is the
Very
plan
nice.
next year, is add Boston, Montreal, and Toronto. And we've already done events in Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and all the big cities in Florida.
Very cool.
Good.
And
Very nice.
one of the
Baltimore as
reasons,
well, and so I've done a lot of the East Coast, but
One of the
not going all
reasons-
the way up to Montreal and Toronto. And I was not. Are you saying something?
well, one of the reasons I
everybody
asked was
with
because I kept seeing you crisscross. I kept seeing you almost like laying light lines and crisscrossing back and forth, connecting everyone.
Thank you, Martha.
And it's going to work out with you and your soulmate, with your twin flame, that you
Oh,
guys are going to
yay.
get together.
Bless you. Thank you for saying that, Martha. I really appreciate it. So
Well, I've
here's
been
what.
throwing the cards the whole time, so yeah, you're good.
Bless you. Thank you. So here's what I'm getting.
Hey, I should get a question in there.
I thought Saratoga Springs was beautiful and a lovely
It is.
area.
Lake George.
And the
Lake
mineral
George is
water.
great.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
Did you go to the
free
baths?
mineral water that you can get from the fountains right there in town.
Yes.
Did you go to the Saratoga baths?
I
No.
didn't because it's those not heated. They're not heated. And once I would go in the middle of the summer when it's really hot. Anyway, so then Spirit said, "Oh, you've got to get up to Lake George." And I'm going, "Okay, I'll go to Lake George." And now, oh my goodness, it is so gorgeous here.
Yeah.
It is so
You're
happy,
there
and I'm
prime
seeing-
colors too.
Yeah.
It is, and it is such a huge resort community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the signs on the streets are Canada Street, Ottawa Street. There's a Montreal motel, and it hit me. I looked at the line from New York City to Montreal, and I had never really seen it until I came to Lake George. I had to get this far to see that it's a straight line of beautiful country and beautiful places to do healing events. That includes Pauling.
Wow.
It includes so it's like Pauling, Albany, Saratoga Springs, Lake George, Burlington, Montreal, and then there's probably some other stops in between there.
Yeah.
This is what I have developed over the last 6 years of touring the East Coast, whether it's the Hampton Roads area in Virginia, or doing a tour around Florida, or doing a little tour around Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and hitting like Annapolis and different towns in Maryland. This is what I'm used to doing. And so what I'm in the middle of right now is so exciting for me because this is just so gorgeous up here. It's just
Perfect timing. Perfect
Yeah,
timing.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So
Seeing
this
all the
is
beautiful
what-
colors.
Yeah,
It
so
is
I'm
gorgeous
loving it
there.
and excited about this new line of touring between I want to do Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa to New York, and I just see this powerful line in between. Because I already work around the Hudson Valley. I do New Paltz, Woodstock. I want to get up to the Berkshires. I've never gone as far
It's
as
a
the
beautiful-
Berkshires?
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous up there.
You need to go there. It's
That's what
very
everybody
spiritual.
says.
Yeah.
How did I live in New York City for 24 years? Never get to the Berkshires, never got up to Lake George. I'm
Oh,
doing it now.
This is what happens. This is what happens. I wanted to, I'm just going to interrupt you just for a minute because someone wrote a lovely post for you on Facebook. Raquel Chappelle, and I know you know her. My dogs and I will all be sitting around on Friday at 7 p.m. It's an amazing experience. I've had my dogs receiving healing. Plus, I'm honored to share with this group that after 3 years of suffering from
Trigeminal neuralgia. It is a horrifying disease. The pain is in the skull, and people call it the suicide disease.
wow.
Understandable.
Well, she says after 3 surgeries, pills, I felt my life was over. Then Spirit actually guided me to Alan Pratt. Oh my God, no more pain, no more pills. God bless always Alan. Now it's 3 years, I'm pain free.
Nice. That's fantastic.
I wanted to read that. It's such a, I felt that energy from her. She wanted that to be shared. So God bless.
Thank you so much. I want to add something to what Raquel shared, and I'm sure she left a little thing out because she was acknowledging me and would have probably taken more time to type this, but I love to talk about collaborations and having success with more than one facilitator or practitioner. Now, in this case, I would say that with Raquel, it's approximately 80% or more strictly working with me.
Mhm.
I wanted to have a success with this client, and so I stopped charging her. So, sometimes Spirit just says,
Yeah.
this isn't about the money. This is about succeeding, and you go work with this person until you have a success and you're not charging. And I have a bunch of those that are ongoing. And Raquel is one of them. And it's been maybe 2.5 years that we've been working together. And within about a year to a year and a half, I'm belching up stuff now. More releasing. Who knows who it's for? I don't know. Raquel would say, oh, it's almost gone. I felt good for days or a week. And I think, oh, yay, we've got a success. And then she'd say, oh, Alan, I'm in terrible pain. I'm having a relapse. Pray for me. And so, whew. And then I think, okay, back to the drawing board. Not that I know what we're doing. It is still a mystery. We can analyze it, make assessments. But this is why I started by saying I feel like I'm more a pure channel than an educated or trained healer. I'm a practiced healer, not formally trained. I don't know what we're doing. So it's bewildering to have a client feel so good for a period of time and then say it's back and it's awful. It's just this, it's no different than when we started working together. And, just on a practical note, on a practical level, I got a bunch of these things going on with a few people around the country. And, you're going to go, come on now, let's have the miracle. When's it going to be done? And so at a point, maybe 6 months ago or less, I decided to post on Facebook because I share miracle healings with any number of sound healers who have been in events with me. Safi Lynn, Tanya Rivera. I'd have to keep thinking of people who have done events with me where people have had like, some kind of amazing healing of an illness. So, but I wasn't succeeding with Raquel to like completely where's that last 10%? What's it going to take? And I think, it's humbling, and you got to say, it's not me. It must not be me.
Mm-hmm.
I am not the sole solution to this person's problem. And so I posted on Facebook just asking if any other healer thinks they've got the other missing part of this, please jump in. And Martha.
How many healers were you working with for her?
Nobody else.
Oh,
I mean, and Raquel has been to people I know in Miami. Raquel has paid money to well-known healers. Raquel goes to healing events. So, and I always encourage people, even at the very beginning of my working, I'm not a possessive healer. I'm not proprietary. That's the right word. And I know healers who are.
but
And I question. I'm the opposite. I'm kind of like, hey, if you think you're supposed to work with somebody else, go for it. And some people say you don't want to mix up this process with that process. And again, I'm the country bumpkin
You sound like me.
who don't know. I don't know all that stuff. I like to assume that
You know.
the more the better, and a little bit of this
Exactly.
and a little bit of that
Exactly.
might be better than just this.
Alan, I'm inclined to agree with you on that because
Thank you, Martha.
I'm seeing a group of angels working through you and other people
Yes.
around her, and I didn't feel like it was separately. I felt like it was kind of coming together.
Yeah, and so that can be in person and that can be by remote.
Mhm.
And it may not be even in the exact same time frame. However, here's what I want to add to this, and I'll complete it, is that the last time I did Burning Man was 2011. I did it for 3 years, 9, 10, 11. And if you don't know what Burning Man is, please look up burningman.com because, oh my goodness, check out the far end of the range of conscious festivals because that's Burning Man. It is the edgy, wilder, crazier end of the conscious festival scene. Takes place in Nevada every year. It's up to 70,000 people now. It's an art crazy. It's an art parade. It's an endless art parade. And there's a lot of spirituality and healing that goes on. There are villages that are totally spiritual. And I worked in a number of the spiritual villages. I did 16 healing events in 1 week.
Wow.
The last time I did Burning Man in 5 different villages. I had up to 4 events a day in 4 different villages at Burning Man. And there were so many brilliant healers that I met there. And one of them, this man named Tom Christ, or Christ, Christ. I haven't seen him since 2011. We've hardly had a conversation, but God bless Facebook. I love Facebook. And he saw that post. And I've heard of Kratom or Kratom. How many people know Kratom?
Mm-hmm.
He hooked up Raquel. And
Really?
I know, maybe somebody else could have said, hey, releasing more.
Releasing.
I'm sure there are kava and kratom bars in Miami.
Well,
there was
I
something about-
don't see them. I see them in Florida, but not in New York.
Well, Raquel's in Miami, and probably somebody could have said, oh, go to a kava bar or something like that. But there was something very powerful about this colleague of mine from a decade ago, seeing this post and having the answer and giving her this coaching and mailing it. I guess it's a business of his, a small business. He's distributing it and shit. And I don't know, maybe there's different qualities like cacao. Everybody's doing cacao ceremonies, which I also love. I have never done Kratom, but wow. I just heard, Raquel said, oh, I'm doing this wonderful tea from your friend Tom. And I said, oh, wonderful. And I asked Tom, I said, what is this tea? And he said, it's Kratom. And I said, wow. I said, because for it to have done the trick, because it's now been at least a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And Raquel is simply saying, I'm great.
Oh, good.
I'm great.
No, you get it.
Yes.
So sometimes look at the, quote, the great healer who's had all these miracles, tours the country, struggling for the last year or two, trying to figure out what is the missing link with this woman to have a full miracle. And it turns out to be a popular new healing drink that a lot of people are doing. but I love the way it all came around. And I love
Alice,
this. Damaris?
yes, I wanted to ask you about that. Is that like an herb drink?
The Kratom.
I know so little about it. I've had kava once or twice, and I feel like it's sort of in the same range. I don't think it's close to cacao, but I think it's in the range. Kratom, I think, is another one of these. It's an herbal drink that is like a tea that is derived. I don't know what the herb kratom is, but I think
Okay.
it's in the same category maybe as kava. Kratom, kava, cacao, all these dark brown liquids that people are drinking these days.
Deliciousness.
The
But I love
deliciousness, yes.
this phrase. I heard somebody say, "Hey, let's go get kratom faced."
Okay.
Get that?
It comes.
Let's go get kratom faced,
Yeah.
not crater faced.
It's a new
Kratom
thing,
face.
and down here in Florida, the kava bars and you can get both. And it's a place where you can just drink. It's like you have a cold or hot, and you can bring your laptop. It's sort of like the new Starbucks,
Wow.
Wow.
and it gives you that effect of relaxation, and it helps. It's also like the CBD, to help relax you and help with inflammations and other ailments. So it's a great product. We'll be having it in Angel Laura. Actually, I did sign up online for some of it, so we will have it.
And here I was thinking I'm going way off base. I'm not talking about anything that might be pertinent to this particular, like to Angel Laura Boutique. And look, I'm promoting a product.
Yeah. So we'll have the kava stuff, the kava drinks. I'm working on getting them supplied and put them into the shop.
It's a mint tea. No, that is.
Unless somebody has a specific question, I'm going to talk a bit more about activation.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you know just that
Yeah,
Raquel
from
says that it's a
Indonesia.
powder to put in hot water, and it's relax energy and super energy. So
Oh my
just so you know that about the kratom.
Are you? Yeah, they're glowing.
Everybody's looking it up now.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
So
It's
now,
from Indonesia. We've done cacao ceremonies,
I've had cacao ceremonies at my place,
and
and it's amazing.
It is.
Heart opening. Again, it's just detoxing.
Mhm.
It's wonderful. Wonderful.
So we've done those. So now I'm looking into the kratom. That's my next one.
beautiful.
So
Excellent.
Alan, tell us a little bit about the activation.
Okay. Earlier, I talked about activating people's higher abilities as healers, mediums, artists, business people, whatever. There's another part of what I activate, and it is movement. It is movement through the body and the voice. There is a modality that is being downloaded through me to deliver to the people. It is called Io Ui Zui, which is a funny name, and I love it. IOUYZUY. Io Ui Zui. Spirit tapped my finger on my laptop on the keypad to give me the words. And when I looked, I said, well, there's a lot of vowels there, and there's one consonant, a Z. And you can pronounce it. I was really surprised that IOUY Zui, UYZUY. And I said, okay. And so this started coming through me years ago. And it works through me
I'm sorry.
when I am doing healing work, when I am working out at the gym. It moves through me if I'm on a dance floor. It moves through me if I'm walking in nature. This modality is very fluid, and anybody can do it. I do think it's good to practice yoga because this modality would be most likened to yoga because I do it on a mat daily. And if you look at my YouTube channel, if you just put in Alan Pratt Healing on YouTube, my YouTube videos pop up and then you'll find my channel. I've recently been posting videos of me doing Io Ui Zui on a yoga mat, either at LA Fitness or out in a park. And I invite you to look at these videos to see that what I'm doing is all channeled, even though some of it looks like I'm doing traditional yoga asanas or postures. And some of it looks like mudras. If you know the word mudra, you can see my hand making mudras. So it's a combination of yoga poses and energy movement and dance. And I mean kind of wild, playful, silly, surprising, awkward, stupid, not pretty. They just play, and it's movement.
I've watched the videos. It's very. I say, how the heck does he do that?
And my flexibility keeps increasing, which is the evidence that it is spirit and it is energetic, and that it is channeled, because I was a dancer starting in college. I'm going to cough again. I was a dancer. I started doing yoga in my 20s or around the age of 30. I've always tried to be as flexible as I can be. I've never been able to do splits. I could do a sideways split pretty good. But when one leg goes forward and the other goes back like cheerleaders, not me, about this much. Not like this. I can now.
I've seen you do it. I can say it.
And I did demonstrate this while people were still coming in on my second visit 2 years ago. It was my second visit that I just did a demonstration of this modality while people were getting into their seats. It has only increased and gone further, y'all.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's like I'm just stunned that my flexibility keeps increasing. And the amount of frequency moving through my body keeps increasing, because this is a modality that, while you think you're doing it maybe primarily to have like a yoga effect in your own body, I'm working on my clients.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm working with people.
Exactly. You can feel it.
It's crazy how broad the effect is of this practice. I can see the faces of a number of clients on a daily basis.
Wow.
And I'm pulling things out of my mouth, entities, energy, demons. I'm pulling all this stuff out. I'm spewing demons out while I'm doing my yoga routine. I like to keep a sense of humor.
Oh my God.
It's really, because the work gets intense. My work, and when you ask what can people expect, if anybody listening has done ayahuasca or other plant medicines where you A, purge a lot, B, have visions, or C, just feel a lot during the medicine ceremony, I have all three of those effects. I'm like a walking ayahuasca vine. I love this because 10 years ago, I have drunk ayahuasca 60 times in the last 20 years. That's not, for people who really get into it, that's actually not all that crazy. That's been since 2002. So that's a period of almost 20 years to drink ayahuasca 60 times. I went through a period there were a few years there where I drank 10 times, 15 times in a year. In recent years, I have not partaken of the medicine many times at all. I miss it a lot because it is so powerful. But when I first began channeling and doing healing circles 10 or 11 years ago, I was already deep into my ayahuasca practice. And people who did ayahuasca immediately started saying, Alan, it's like an ayahuasca ceremony coming to a healing circle with you. And I was like, that's like the highest compliment to somebody who really appreciates the experience and the benefits of working with plant medicine like ayahuasca, which it's not just the trippy values of ayahuasca, it's an activator too, very powerful activator, and also heals disease. And there are a lot of light workers who shy away from plant medicine because of the whole trippy, because of the psychotropic or psychedelic nature of it. And they talk about, entities can get in you and things like that. Well, this world, entities can get in you. There's a lot of frequency going on everywhere. And yes, it's intense working
On you, Tamara.
with plant medicine.
It's
But I
on
will say
Tamara
that
saying,
I
I'm
have
going to
been
fix that
in-
view. There you are, girls. You know what? Martha had to leave us. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Alan.
Cool.
And so I had to change the view so everyone can see everybody.
Thank you. Well, we are right at about that. I didn't even ask, is your show an hour or is it longer?
Well, we're going for an hour, but it's okay. We can be a few minutes over, and that's
Okay.
perfectly fine. I'm going to get back to what's happening this weekend with Alan at the shop. And I'm so grateful that everyone has joined us this evening. Alan will be in the shop on Friday, the 15th. He has a healing ceremony at 7 p.m. And then he will also be available for some private sessions. You can do individual. He does couples and he does family sessions. We have booked some couple sessions and individual sessions. And so if any of you out there listening would like a private session and you can't make it Friday evening, Alan is available on the weekend for some sessions. Just reach out to me on Facebook or call the shop 845-406-7021. Oh, I'm sorry, that was my cell phone. Don't call my cell.
You didn't hear that.
Call my cell. What the heck?
Going back in time.
We're so excited about
That
having
number?
you, Alan. And if you guys can make it to see Alan, by all means, come on in and come
And what's
see
the
him.
number at the shop again?
845-493-0432.
Oh,
0432. Oh my God. AngelAuraBoutique.com is the website. You can read all about Alan, about his journeys. I also have a blog out there with lots of links to Alan's different stories. And if you can take the minute to read the blog and check out all the links and all of the different adventures, I'm going to say it that way, that Alan has experienced. And it's just amazing. And we love you, Alan. We love you so much.
I love you, Diane. I love all of you guys. I love this community.
We love having you. I was so excited when you said, hey, I'm going to come to Pauling. I'm like, yeah, Alan's coming. Oh, you can find the blog. Candy's asking where you can find the blog on Facebook. It is on my Facebook page, Angel Aura page, but also on the website, AngelAuraBoutique.com, Candy. And you can read about all the events with Alan. And I know that you are upstate north, far from us, but Alan does do distant healing. So if you're interested in some of that, or if you guys can get over to the shop. I know it's quite a trip for you because she's way up north. But definitely check out Alan, Candy. And Candy is actually she's married to an uncle. So we're our family. And she has had
Lovely.
a lot of ailments in her life. So I think it would be great if she reach out to you.
yeah. You're doing it.
Yeah, we're sending you
My
lots of love and
website is
healing.
alanpratt.net, ALANPRATT.net. And
Yes,
if you
give
want
us
to
all
go
your
direct-
information.
And
Yes.
it's Angel. The blog spot is just angelamion.blogspot.
Hmm?
ANGELAMYON.
Cheese.
Angelamion.blogspot.com.
I'm hungry. Don't talk about cheese.
Well, lovies, it's time to go.
Blessings.
I'm
Love and
so
light.
happy we got to put this together, and I love having Alan, and I can't express how grateful I am that you girls are there at the shop, putting it together for us, and it's wonderful, and it's a wonderful tribe, and I invite everyone to come to the shop, be part of the events. The girls also have other events happening at the shop this month, so you can check them out on our Facebook event page. You can also check out the website; it has a listing of every event on there. Um, it's a lot of fun, and even if you just need to stop in the shop and just
Vent.
release or receive some healing, just to
Mhm.
chat, have a cup of tea. We're always open to someone coming in with questions. We don't charge for answers. That way, we do readings, and if you'd like a reading, you're more than welcome to come in and have one. But we do ask that you come in and share stories with us because we love it.
Yes, we do.
And any last words, anyone?
No, just blessings and have a good evening.
Love and light.
Take good care. We'll see you soon, Alan.
We'll see you Friday,
Love
Alan.
and
Looking
light. Many
forward.
blessings.
Love you all.
Same to you.
See you soon.
See you
Good night.
soon.
Blessings.